This program on AM 1170, The Answer, is sponsored by Allied Media Group.
Welcome to the Andrea Kaye Show. She's blonde, 5'2", and 107 pounds of dynamite in a dress. Here she is, Andrea Kaye.
Good evening and welcome to the Andrea Kaye Show. This is my first show back, coming back from vacation. I took what I think is a much-needed long week off for Christmas week. It's my first time to actually go away and take a vacation, actually, for Christmas week. It's something that I've actually been wanting to do for a few years. I spent a lot of years spending Christmas with my family. I've got a ton of nieces and nephews, as y'all know, so usually I'm surrounded by family at Christmas time, and I just had the need to just kind of get away, do something a little bit different, and that I did, and I actually took a Christmas cruise, and I love cruising. One of the reasons why I love cruising is because it gets you offshore. It's one thing to say, I'm going to go away and I'm going to unplug for a few days and, disconnect from social media and Facebook and Twitter. But when you're at a resort somewhere on the mainland, it can be tempting to pick up that phone and people get, you can come in and out of the lobby, you're by the computer. You can, let me just pop on Facebook and see what's happening out there. When you get offshore, and it's like $99 a minute to get on your phone or do any kind of internet search, you're really not going to do it. And it kind of really forces you to completely unplug. Not as much as what I experienced one time when I went to Club Med in Cancun, which was at the time, I don't even know if Club Med's still around, but at the time it was the quintessential getaway, because Club Med at the time had no phones in the rooms, no TVs in the rooms, no way to be connected to the outside world. I don't even think there were clocks in the room at the time. I think you had to just one little phone connected to the desk if you wanted a wake-up call, and that was it. So one day there felt like a week, and so it really got you into relaxation mode. It wasn't quite like that. Nor was it $4 million like a minute that Obama spent of the taxpayers' money on his little 17-day jaunt or 7-day, however long he's been over in Hawaii. This is a man who grew up in Hawaii. You got to stay. You got to spend $4 million. Don't you have some peeps you can shack up with? When I go to visit family for Christmas, you know what? I can't tell you how many times I slept on a sofa in the front house of my sister's house, to be with people. No, he's got to sit and spend 5 hours at a poolside place kicking everybody out. People can't even enjoy their own vacation because fat cats got to roll in on the taxpayer's dime. Yeah, it's really easy to have a phenomenal Christmas vacation when somebody else is paying for it. You know what? I guess I am back. I thought maybe I'd kind of lost it a little bit.
In mid-season form, too.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. I am so glad to share this time with you and actually be back. I was thinking that re-entry from being unplugged for a week was kind of made me throw me off my curb, but it sounds like it hasn't. I'm thrilled to be here with you and sharing this time with you. Follow me on Twitter at Andrea Kaye Show. Friend me on Facebook, like my fan page. Sharing the time with me is actually my buddy Paul. Hey, baby.
How's it going? I had a great Christmas as well, so it was nice.
Yeah, before the show, Paul was kind of reminding me of the old Christmases that I spent many with my little nieces and nephews. I actually have a 2.5-year-old niece now. And you're right, Paul, there's nothing like spending Christmas with the little ones. Their excitement when they open the presents, just all of it.
Exactly. And my niece is 2.5 as well, and everything was frozen, and she just was the happiest little bundle of joy. Opened up all her Frozen toys and was playing with the dogs and playing with her Frozen toys. We even watched Frozen for the first time, so it was wonderful.
How many times did you watch Frozen, though?
Just once. We were just there for breakfast, and we're doing dinner back at my parents' house. My brother and sister-in-law had friends coming over, so. But yeah, I'm sure that was my first of many Frozen viewings.
Oh yeah, because I have my niece Kelsey when I was going to Ohio for many years for Christmas, and she was about 2.5. I think it was Dalmatians, which she called Dalmatians. And, we must have watched whenever she would get obsessed with a Disney movie, it was all that was played all day long. And one reason was it's because it kept her quiet. So anyway, enough about Christmas. I do hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. I did miss everybody while I was out on my cruise, but it was really phenomenal to kind of unplug. Did leave me. There was a TV in the cabin, even with news outlets, but I tried to be disciplined and not turn on the news, even though they had Fox News in there, because I did want to unplug. And it was interesting to have the mindset coming back of what's happened when I've been gone. Has there been any? Of course, I knew that if there had been any big earth-shattering news, people would have been talking about it all over the cruise ship. So really, I wasn't really that unconnected. But still, I did have that feeling in me of, what's been going on when I stepped off the cruise ship to come back. Unfortunately, we got back on land to find devastating storms in the Dallas area and in the Texas area. Some people lost their lives due to tornadoes. And so heartfelt condolences to the people. 50 people nationwide, I think, in this round of storms have lost their lives. And so we want to send our best wishes and thoughts and prayers for them and their families at this time. Interesting to be, I like to stay connected with everybody. Charles Burton said on Facebook this morning that, I had listeners around the country, and that's true. But I feel like I stay pretty connected to a fairly kind of tight-knit core group of peeps out there, including Charles and Peggy and Timothy and just Joe and Sue, just all y'all, you know who you are. And while I feel like I stay connected to a lot of people around large parts, it was interesting being on a cruise ship with a few thousand people that I've never had any connection with before. And I got to tell you, there's a vibe going on out there in America that I felt for the first time. It was a vibe of uncertainty. You could hear people talking about it, fear about the future, fear about the threats we face, fear about the fact that we have an administration that seems to be on the wrong side and actually working against us. People trying to do their best to celebrate a holiday, yet there was an undercurrent of just kind of an undercurrent of like tension with people that I'd never experienced before, and because I could hear rumblings of people around me on the cruise ship, so I found that interesting, and I know that I've had a couple guests on the show recently, one in particular who has written a book, and I can't remember the name of it. I actually had him on America Trends the week before I left for Christmas, where he's predicting great optimism for the future based upon the 2016 elections. There still is reason to be optimistic. We still are the greatest nation in the world. And we have every reason, particularly at this Christmas time, we have every reason to be hopeful about the future, if for no other reason than because of Jesus Christ. And that's really what we were supposed to be celebrating last week. And I did. I might have been on a cruise ship somewhere, around the Caribbean, but it didn't stop me from celebrating the true reason for the season, and that is Christmas. And he's the main reason why I stay optimistic and I stay positive and hopeful for the future and stay happy every day, because no matter what's going on around me, that gives me reason to have hope. Same old, though, in terms of the stories. Not a whole lot of new stuff that's happening. Today and tomorrow in the Andrea Kaye Show, we're going to be closing out 2015. We're going to be looking at 2016 and what we can expect. We kind of started talking about that last week. Some of the same old stuff while I was going on is we still have Trump in the lead. We still have Trump creating narratives for the first time in as many years as I can remember. We actually have a Republican candidate who is creating the narratives. He is starting the conversation. People are following him versus the Republican Party in total having to be on the defensive against narratives that are being created against them. In fact, he's done the reverse on the Democrat Party. So I'm still not sure I understand why there's so many Republicans out there who are so anti-Trump. I get that you're concerned that, he's supported Democrats in the past, but so is Ronald Reagan. Forget politics as usual. The whole message of Trump is that we want an outsider. We don't want politics as usual. So stop evaluating him on the basis of politics as usual. Don't you get it, anti-Trump people? I don't care that he once gave money to a politician who could help him at some point with a building. He was playing the game. That shouldn't be held against him. And now he's willing, he and a couple of other people like Cruz are calling it the way it is, and we need to get behind that. So that's something that's same old, coming back to find that Trump's still in the lead. We're going to talk throughout the show about a couple of the narratives that he is creating and keeping that ball rolling. We're going to talk about some, I just mentioned a few minutes ago that one of the reasons why Americans are unsettled is because we have an administration that's not only not doing what they need to do to keep us safe, they've actually taken up with the enemy. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about some poll numbers and see, there has been a little bit of move in that area since I was gone. we've actually got some interesting kind of entertainment related news. And no, Della B, she's undercover somewhere, doing her best to chill throughout the holidays. So I'm actually going to do our own little entertainment report, to talk about that. There's even a little scandal brewing in the sports industry today, Paul. Don't say, but do you know what I'm talking about?
I have a pretty good idea, and I have some thoughts on that.
Oh, you do?
So it's the one I'm thinking about.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what Paul has. You're a big sports fan, but Noah's all about baseball. That's
I can talk any sport at any time.
Really?
Yes, I can.
Well, I can't wait to hear your perspective, because a lot of people might be surprised to hear mine on that story. We're going to talk about that when we come up. And let's see. What else do we have to talk about? Let's see. Anything new? Poll numbers, entertainment news. We've got to talk about. There's actually been some updates going on with the San Bernardino story. So I'm just going to keep it rolling and doing what I do here, talking about radical Islam, talking about everything that's near and dear to my heart. Most importantly, I want to keep talking about you all and how much I appreciate you. And so stay tuned. We got more of the Andrea Kaye Show on the other side of the break.
Be sure to follow Andrea Kaye on Twitter at Andrea Kaye Show, and follow her on Facebook and like her fan page at Andrea Kaye, spelled Kaye.
Want to start living better, longer? Levita Compounding Pharmacy can help. Proudly improving the lives of over 10,000 patients, preparing personalized medications with the highest care, quality, and safety. Voted Union Tribune's best local pharmacy, Levita specializes in bioidentical hormones, prescription skincare, transdermal pain creams, and more. Let us help you find the path to living better, longer. Visit us at levitarx.com or call 866-507-1990.
I'm Nicole Donnelly, and for over 20 years, I've owned and managed Miramar Kitchen and Bath with one goal in mind, to offer great service and great value. Just listen to what our customers are saying.
Service was excellent.
Easy process, start to finish.
We are really happy with our new bathroom.
We've already talked to them about redoing our kitchen.
They have our complete trust.
Call Miramar Kitchen and Bath, 858-271-8434, or visit my showroom, just 1/2 block off Miramar Road on Commerce Avenue.
Contractors license 657-333.
Miramar Kitchen and Bath.
Convenient, home-style recipes, and unique menu favorites. Sombrero, your place for San Diego-style Mexican food. Roll tacos, California burritos, and don't forget your salsa.
Sombrero Mexican food.
We get it, too.
You're listening to The Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Andrea Kaye Show. Glad to have you here with me tonight on my post-Christmas cruise show. Hey, I was talking about Christmas before the break. I forgot to tell y'all about the great Christmas present that I got. Kind of a long story. One of those stories, family stories, that kind of like you all laugh about, and it really doesn't mean much to anybody else. But I'm going to tell it anyway because I'm just in that kind of mood. So anyway, many years ago, y'all hear me talk about my family a lot. I got a sister who lives in the Midwest, and that's where she raised her 3 kids. And we wanted to get together one year for a little quick get-together over a weekend. But it's like, where do you meet up from the Midwest and San Diego in the middle to like have some fun? Because, we like to do fun stuff and, not just like sit around eating, although there's nothing wrong with that because that's what I did last week. Anyway, so we decided to meet up in Moab, Utah. Now, you may not have heard about Moab, although I hadn't heard about it before either. I guess it's the mountain biking capital of the world. It's the top of the Grand Canyon. It's where people, end up doing a whole lot of Arches National Monuments there. It's where they filmed Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, whitewater rafting there. Just great outdoorsman's paradise. Really out in the middle of nowhere, though. So we had to fly into Salt Lake and make a long drive south. And we're on our way south, and we see a billboard for this restaurant. Now, y'all know I got kind of my family. We kind of have a little odd sense of humor. Well, the billboard was called Wadalahonkies. Well, Paul's already laughing. So we're like busting out laughing. Wadalahonkies? Are you kidding me? Where is this place? We cannot not go to Wadalahonkies. Okay. But the billboard was past us. We're like, well, surely we'll see another billboard. We'll be able to find this place. We never did. This was before GPS, before smartphones. We didn't have a way to search this place. This was back like in 2000. Jean was like really little at the time. Anyway, so this was all these years ago, but we've talked about and laughed about Wadalahonkies for years now. And guess what I got in the mail, Paul?
Maybe an advertisement for Waddle Hockeys?
No.
Oh, even better. A wearable advertisement.
Yes. I am sitting here wearing my Waddle Hockeys T-shirt.
Amazing.
That I got in the mail. And I'm going to have Paul take some pictures of me wearing the T-shirt, because I guess sister told the owners, she actually ended up talking to the owners of Waddle Honky, told them the story. They sent her a T-shirt, and, we promised, I guess sister promised them that we would take some pictures wearing our Waddle Honkies T-shirt. I'm going to have Paul take a picture of the back. The shirts are as politically incorrect as the billboard and the name Waddle Honkies. Which just really suits my family. So anyway, so glad to come home to the best Christmas present ever. Some girls look forward to diamonds and furs. A Waddle Honkies T-shirt is all I need to be happy. But to get serious, because a lot has happened. Big news today, Paul. Great news. I guess Ramadi in Iraq was taken back by the Iraqi police force from ISIS. I'm hearing this and hearing everybody talking about what a success this is for America. And I'm thinking, wait a second. From whom did ISIS take it? Oh, was it the Iraqi police force after how many billions of dollars of American treasure and blood was spent in towns like Ramadi and Mosul and Fallujah? How did ISIS get such a stronghold in Iraq? It's because President Obama pulled out. We even have, Republicans that have actually tried to blame George W. Bush for ISIS. And I'm not going to sit here and litigate and actually defend the decision to go into Iraq. But the bottom line is, once we did, we had an obligation to do our best to prevent. I've said before, the left should love Bush, because, he already experimented with their theory, which is, there wasn't enough water to make people happy, so they had to want to kill us, or climate change, in other words, or that they just hadn't had the benefit of experiencing the wonderful American culture. And once they, got exposed to it, they would learn to love it. And that's why we were there, all of which wasn't true. But the pull out of the American troops is what has led to the rise of ISIS. This is not a success story today. This is a travesty on the part of the American people. And while I was on vacation, I read the last Vince Flynn book that I'm ever going to have the honor and the privilege to read, because he unfortunately passed away with prostate cancer. And he was a man that knew many, many people in the intelligence community in the United States, and actually based his book on the reality of the boots on the ground. Read The Last Man, because it's all about this kind of crap that's gone on over there with an administration that for its own personal agenda wanted to pull out American troops, leave the ones who were there with bad rules of engagement, that left them as sitting ducks over there. And it is a travesty what has gone on. And shame on any Republicans today that are actually reporting this in any way as though it is good news for America.
It reminds me of, you're playing Risk with your family, and the Eastern United States territory kids getting transferred back and forth between the white team, the blue team, and the green team. It might be a victory right now, but you know what? Just wait till ISIS comes back and takes that back.
Right. And
it's just going to continue to change hands until there's an actual stable government and a stable United States force behind them.
Right. And we have military installations all around the world, like in Europe after World War II, to keep the peace. We have people in Japan. We have the reason why we have these worldwide military installations, Paul, after the wars, was because we were there to basically tamp down any attempts at rising back up. And that's why we needed to keep that military presence there. Yeah, I mean, they're already saying that ISIS, I heard Major General Bob Scales this morning was on Fox. He's been on the Andrea Kaye show many times. He said, they're just basically on the outskirts of town waiting to regroup. Come on. This is not a success story. Although, of course, the Obama administration, did you hear this today? I mean, we're going to do more of a year-end wrap tomorrow. But in touting failure as success, I shouldn't be shocked, Paul, to read that Secretary of State right now, John Kerry, says that his big accomplishment in 2015 is, and I quote, bringing peace and security to Syria. This is where we're at as a nation, to where we have blatant lies and propaganda on the part of our administration. And to think, I'm going to get into some poll numbers in a little bit later, but to think that we have half the country prepared for another round of this kind of crap and being willing to vote for Hillary makes me want to go back on a cruise ship and unplug and never come back. I mean, it's insane.
It absolutely does, because obviously John Kerry's talking about a different Syria than the one I know about, because peace and security is not the words I would use, adjectives I would use to describe Syria right now.
You know what? Maybe there is a Syria. Maybe, you know what? Another Syria. Maybe, maybe in Polynesia somewhere there's another little island called Syria, and they're braiding hair on the beach, and they're just like having a great time. Right? And giving massages to everybody.
John Kerry sitting on the beach, kicked back, drinking a Mai Tai, getting a massage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Maybe it's that Syria. It's indoctrination that has worked for a really long time, because you look at where we're already at as a nation. We have so many Americans defending Islam, defending Muslims today. And actually, I've even had people defend the fact, I've been talking about different stupid stories coming out of the Ivy League for a while. You can't talk about indoctrination without talking about our school systems. Everything, you can't have Christmas. Here we are coming off of Christmas. You can't have, a Christmas tree anywhere. It's got to be called a holiday tree. You can't have a nativity scene. I was in Cozumel and they had a nativity scene right out on the main thoroughfare. It's like, it was so wonderful to see, open displays, because we can't have that here anywhere in America anymore. Yet what we can have is school books in San Diego, where the first lesson, I think I talked about this last week, the first lesson and school assignment for children was to go and create a website in which it was to preach that Islam is a religion of peace. The depths that they are going in order to transform us into a Muslim nation is not to be overlooked or to be minimized. Right now, and I've been talking about this stupidity at Ivy Leagues, I don't know if you know, but a $10 million bribe, and that's exactly what it is, has been given to Yale. It's called the Islamic Law Center for Students at Yale University. And this donation came from a man named Saudi banker whose last name is Camel. And it was earmarked, the $10 million was earmarked to study Sharia law. We have a law here, Paul, that law students should be studying, and it's called the U.S. Constitution. And we already have a problem where we have lawyers coming out and we have public officials who don't understand it, don't care to understand it, don't care anything about it, and trample all over it. Yep. We don't need anybody to study Sharia law here in the country. This is about what it's always about. It's about indoctrination. We actually had Ruth Bader Ginsburg, one of the Supremes, say that it's a shame that we can't consider other laws here besides the U.S. Constitution. No, it's not a shame. We have the greatest country in the world, and it's because of the U.S. Constitution. And every aspect, every system, our education system and our media are attempting to breach the wall of the U.S. Constitution and go along with what the Muslims want, which is a replacement of the Constitution with Sharia.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the bad thing about one of the bad things about having a president that is a constitutional lawyer that wants to circumvent the Constitution. He knows how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. And make no mistake about it, the transformation that Obama talked about included partnering with the Muslim Brotherhood, with CARE, and with every other organization, Muslim organization, that specifically wants to overthrow the U.S. Constitution and replace it with Sharia. And even worse than just flat out, because, they're trying to indoctrinate our students. Just don't send your kid to Yale, people are saying. It's worse than that. See the bigger picture for what it is and how detrimental this is to our society. And if that doesn't move you, if you're so crazy that you're going to sit back and think that there's no way that we could have our government overthrown and have large parts of it under Sharia like in Europe, wake up and wise up. If that doesn't bother you, though, this should bother you, because this person's banking organization funded Al-Qaeda. And has, in fact, multiple witnesses in the 1998 New York City trials of Al-Qaeda members testified that Mr. Camel's bank had relocated thousands of dollars to Al-Qaeda in order for them to buy a new airplane. And oh, by the way, how many people of the Bin Laden family went to Harvard and Yale? I don't even want to fly over. I am so disgusted with the Ivy Leagues. You'd be better off, people, if you sent your kids to Vinny's school for, I don't know, Vinny's school for what? We got a lot of microbrewers in San Diego.
Exactly.
Teach your kid to learn how to make some home brew at home. You'd be better off, because, then there's some real money in that, and your kids might not be tainted with being told that Sharia is the way to go. That's what I say. when we say here on the Andrea Kaye Show that that Obama is not only not doing anything to keep us safe, he's actually taken up with the enemy. That's not hyperbole. I'm not being bombastic. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170 KCBQ. There's ample evidence. Stop listening to, what he says and start paying attention to what he does. We now know that the San Bernardino mosques, there's a reason why Barack Obama has refused to allow any investigations to take place in any mosques. The San Bernardino Mosque, where Farouk worshipped, they said that they didn't know anything about him. Oh, really? Except that phone records came out that there had been 38 messages over a 2-week period in June, which just so happened to coincide, Paul, with the Muslim terrorist attack in Chattanooga that was against our military that continued to be unarmed even after what happened to them in Fort Hood. Why in the world? This is the same man that went to a press conference, was allowed to go to a press conference and said that he didn't know Farouk any more than he knew the reporters in the room. This man should immediately be in custody. He has lied to investigators. That mosque should be torn up from the inside out. It is absolutely out. This is the same mosque, Paul, by the way, in which I reported on a man named Philip Haney from the Homeland Security Department. He was a veteran, and he was actually investigating this mosque, among others, because this mosque was involved in a case in 2012. Philip Haney had identified 300 jihadists and terrorists tied to this movement of Orthodox Islamists called Tablighi Jamaat. And there's 50,000 of these members around the nation, 10 states. He says this movement is rife with jihadists and jihadi groomers, and they're recruiting at mosques in at least 10 states, including the mosque here in San Diego, Paul. The mosque here in San Diego, the one on Balboa, I don't know if you've been over. It's not far from the Target.
I've been past there, yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that 2 of the 9/11 hijackers were members at that mosque?
I did, and actually 9/11, one of the hijackers, my mom found out afterwards, she was working at a travel agency in Rancho Bernardo. One of them came in about 2 months before then and tried to buy an airline ticket for my mom, and they turned him away because they got a weird vibe from him.
Well, you know, hat tip to your mom. Did the FBI come in and investigate?
They did come in and talk to him and just find out what they knew. They didn't know much because he was there for all of about 10 minutes, and they just like, yeah, we know. We're getting ready to close. We're ready to go for lunch. Come back later. And he never came back.
Well, the FBI already found out that al-Awlaki here with the mosque was recruiting extremists. But you know what? What did they do? Yeah, they knew. They've known that Philip Haney was making headway and that he had identified all these jihadists and all these terrorists that are actively here attempting to take us over from within and commit acts of jihad and terror against America. And what did President Obama do? He called off Philip Haney's investigation, and they actually destroyed every bit of his evidence. To me, the fact that this is now public knowledge, and that man is sitting over in Hawaii, spending taxpayers' money instead of being in prison, instead of being impeached or tried for treason, is shocking to me. America, wake up. You're right. I am back in mid-season form. Right, Paul? Hey, I'm glad to be back with you all here tonight. This is the Andrea Kaye Show. We've got more to talk about on the other side of the break. Stay with me.
Want more Andrea Kaye? Follow her on Twitter at Andrea Kaye Show and like her Facebook page at Andrea Kaye, spelled Kaye.
Convenient, home-style recipes and unique menu favorites. Sombrero, your place for San Diego-style Mexican food. Roll tacos, California burritos, and don't forget your salsa.
Sombrero Mexican food.
We get it too.
Do you struggle with the day-to-day management of your business? Proteus takes the pain out of the business process management by providing you a complete system for efficiency, automation, continuity. Proteus is business solution that wraps itself around your business and grows with you. Gone are the days of multiple programs and systems for sales, inventory, customer management, and financial reporting. Proteus serves your business every day, all day, and revolutionizes the way you do business. Visit us today to see how Proteus can assist you online at www.proteuserp.com or call today 877-749-3533.
Fresh Healthy Vending, the nation's largest healthy vending company, is looking for locations in this area to place its latest innovation. A fresh, healthy micro market at absolutely no cost to your business. A fresh, healthy micro market is like a mini health food store for your office break room. Choose from breakfast meals, fresh salads, wraps, hot meals, smoothies, cold-pressed juices, and more, all at a convenient self-checkout kiosk. Now you can offer your employees exactly what they want. All natural, healthy, fresh, and organic foods. Fuel productivity and creativity, decrease absenteeism, and increase morale. Fresh Healthy Vending is offering the first 20 offices that sign up $250 cash and 15% of the net profits each micromarket generates each month. For free information about this exciting and healthy opportunity, visit freshandhealthy.org to request your free machine.
You're listening to The Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
Welcome back to The Andrea Kaye Show. Glad to have you all here with me. Whew, I was getting fired up before the break, but I mean, how can you not get fired up? No wonder there was tension and there was people, just a different kind of vibe with Americans when I was out on vacation last week, because people are unsettled. People are scared. Some pundits are hand-wringing. Has Trump tapped into anger, or has he tapped into fear on the part of the electorate? How about both? How about we're angry because we are fearful, because we are in a situation where we have a government that's not only not doing what they can do to keep us safe, they're actually working against us. Now, I guess there's no evidence to prove that this woman who was arrested, Sharon Thayer, she's an Irving immigration lawyer and Obama supporter, who was arrested on a 7-count indictment, 1 count of conspiracy to commit fraud in connection with immigration documents, 1 count of mail fraud, and 1 count of transfer or use of means of identification of another person, and 4 counts of aggravated identity theft. How is identity theft non-aggravation? How is it aggravated versus non-aggravated identity theft? I don't understand that, but I tell you, it's all an aggravation to me. Aggravated in the sense that it's a higher level. This is a woman who was invited to the White House by President Obama to discuss immigration reform, and then she gets busted with committing fraud with immigration.
And we're supposed to trust this administration to vet the people coming in from Syria?
Right. In fact, they not only can't be trusted to vet, we can trust one thing, that they're going to do everything they can to bring as many people here illegally as they can, because it's all about amassing more and more and more power to a centralized government. And that's why I'm no longer going to engage in anybody's debate with me on whether or not Obama is a Muslim. I don't care whether he's a Muslim. I don't think he worships anybody but himself. What it's about is it's about power. And we've got a Republican Party that's not doing what they should be doing to push back. I was really disappointed, but not shocked, to find out that Trey Gowdy, who has been a huge disappointment to me, has decided to endorse Marco Rubio. And you know what? Hat tip to Trump, who called him out and said, you know what? So is he going to do a better job for Marco than he did for the American people in the Benghazi hearings? Because quite frankly, he was a big loser in that. I've had so many people, did you see Trey Gowdy, tear apart Hillary and did this and that? You know what? No, I didn't see that. What I saw was Hillary Clinton work them over and allow the Benghazi, as well as Issa, and who also backed Rubio. I've seen them allow the Democrat Party, whether it's Fast and Furious, whether it's the IRS scandal, whether it's Benghazi, they were directly responsible for the deaths of 4 Americans, and the Republican Party, including Trey Gowdy, let her get away with it. Everybody's talking about him being an attack dog. He's not an attack dog. He doesn't even have a decent bark. I could have done a better job. These are the people that let Hillary Clinton yell at them in a hearing. What difference does it make? I tell you, it makes a hell of a lot of difference to the American people, Trey Gowdy. They have a right to know what truly happened, and more importantly, we all know what happened, and we had a right as American people to have our elected officials be held accountable, and you did not do it. Your job was oversight, and you didn't do it. And the anti-Trump people are saying, how can you go against Trey Gowdy? He had a 97% rating in being a conservative conservative. Well, you know what my rating is? How I rate whether or not somebody is working as a conservative is when they actually do their job. Their job is oversight. That means to hold people accountable. He didn't do it. So you know what, you anti-Trump people? He gets a big fat 0 from me. He is part of the establishment, and the establishment needs to go. I am this close to putting my hat in the ring for Trump, but I'm liking Cruz. I'm liking where he's coming from. Because you know what? I think they'd make a hell of a ticket. There's some whispers going along right now that Jim Webb, that was a little bit of a surprise to me to come back and find out that he's actually decided that he's going to launch a run as an independent. I think and nobody should be bashing him. He's not going to take any votes from the Republicans, but he's going to take some votes from the Democrats. There's some whispers that that there's an alliance maybe forming with Trump and with Jim Webb. And you know what, Paul, that might be a brilliant move if he could get Jim Webb to be on the VP ticket with him, because that man is fierce.
Absolutely.
And I did not know this. I found out that I guess he was a former Delta Force command leader.
Special Forces, yeah. He has a lot of military experience. That would be a perfect way to balance out the ticket with Trump, who has no military experience.
Yeah, well, you know what? That certainly explains a lot to me, because he certainly looked like he was ready to launch a grenade or, do a special ops move on in that debate when he was the only one standing up there who was willing to call the enemy out with the rest of them were talking about climate change. And he's like, what do you mean you people aren't willing to call radical Islam the enemy? It looked like he was ready to put some special forces maneuvers and break some necks up there on that stage. He has consistently called out Hillary Clinton, not quite to the degree that I think I would like him to call her out for Benghazi. He basically, to paraphrase, said that her Libya, basically he said the same thing Trump said, which is her Libya and Arab Spring foreign policy, her and Obama, was abysmal, dumbest foreign policy ever, and has led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people. She has no business running for president.
Which sadly is a lot stronger than some of the rhetoric we've heard come out of the Republican Party in the last 6 months.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're all acting as though, we can't lay a hand on Hillary Clinton. Well, well, thank you, Trey Gowdy. That's exactly what you proved. You can't lay a hand on her. You're not willing to do it. You don't care enough to do it. You're all a bunch of the establishment. There's zero daylight between the GOP establishment and the Democrats. In fact, his quote was, Hillary Clinton's failed vision in Libya and Arab Spring are foreign policy leadership at its worst. He's criticized his party, the Democrats, for propping up her campaign. I don't know if there's any alliance brewing, but he's not bashing Trump anymore, and Trump's not bashing him. So we'll see. I think Trump's being smart and saying, we'll see how this plays out with Cruz. Some poll numbers have come out there that are a little bit interesting. The latest CNN poll numbers show Hillary losing ground, even though they hit her debate on the Saturday. They stuck it next to the Bullet infomercial, like late in the middle of the Saturday night, to try to keep people from watching it.
Right before Christmas, when everyone's just glued to their TV.
Exactly. Cruz is surging 5 points. Now he's got a 2-point lead against Hillary. Rubio beats her by 3. And they both have a 12-point lead against her among independents. And Sanders' gap against her has gone from 28 points to 16. So we'll see what's going on there. One of the things that I saw a huge debate going on today, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170 KCBQ. The Trump haters that are Republicans are caught up themselves in, they're like establishment voters. They're still buying into the same mindset of you have to have somebody run a campaign in the same way that's failed in the past, according to conventional wisdom in terms of the way politicians are supposed to sound, the way they're supposed to do things. And Trump is just breaking through all those barriers. On Outnumbered today, they were debating on whether or not it was good strategy. Guy Benson continues to disappoint me, because for somebody as young as he is, you would think that he wouldn't be so tied into an establishment mindset, but he's saying that it's a bad move for Trump to attack Hillary Clinton in terms of Bill Clinton and the war on women. Well, first of all, Trump usually reserves his attacks for punching back when he gets attacked. So what happened was Hillary Clinton had made some comments and accused of Donald Trump of demonstrating a penchant for sexism. So Trump did what he does. He responded and says Hillary Clinton has announced she is letting her husband out to campaign. I love the way he phrased it. But he's, quote, demonstrated a penchant for sexism so inappropriate. Well, now we've got people saying, well, I mean, it's right on. She accuses Trump of having a penchant for sexism, following the same old Democrat line of just what they did in 2012, where the stupid Republicans have a war on women, and Romney's got binders full of women. And how did Romney respond? With nothing. He didn't. How did Trump respond? Trump punched back and said, let's talk about Bill Clinton. You want to talk about who's got a war on women? You want to talk about who's sexist? It ain't me, he says. It's Bill Clinton. And now we've got the Republican establishment analyst and voters saying it's a bad move, that you can't talk about somebody's marriage. It wasn't about his marriage. What he did this is not a situation to where vacation somewhere. He had a tryst behind his wife's back. This is the president of the United States who, in the people's house, not his own house, committed sexual was a predator on a young intern and committed sexual harassment that would have had him in a court of law had he been anybody but Bill Clinton. And oh, by the way, he's been accused of rape. He's been accused of sexual assault by multiple women. You're dang right it's fair play. And for any Republican to tell him that he should stay away from the Clinton marriage, this is not about the Clinton marriage. And you know what? Everybody's saying it's bad strategy. Trump can't win with this one. He needs to, keep hands off. He's won every other narrative. He's won every other fight, and he's going to win this one. And you know what? People are going to be talking about it. They're going to be talking about it, not just the argument itself, but like immigration, like the borders on the South, like the Muslim immigration when he said he wanted to ban on Muslims coming temporarily. Now on the war on women, he's actually turning the tables. He's owning the narrative, and he's getting people to talk about issues in the way that they should be talked about. Every Republican should be thankful that we've got Trump right now on the campaign trail. And I'm thankful to have you all here with me. Hey, when we come back, we're going to switch gears. We've got a couple of other pop culture topics to get into. This is the Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
Be sure to follow Andrea Kaye on Twitter at Andrea Kaye Show, and follow her on Facebook and like her fan page at Andrea Kaye, spelled Kaye.
Want to start living better, longer? Levita Compounding Pharmacy can help. Proudly improving the lives of over 10,000 patients, preparing personalized medications with the highest care, quality, and safety. Voted Union Tribune's best local pharmacy, Levita specializes in bioidentical hormones, prescription skincare, transdermal pain creams, and more. Let us help you find the path to living better, longer. Visit us at levitarx.com or call 866-507-1990.
I'm Nicole Donnelly, and for over 20 years, I've owned and managed Miramar Kitchen and Bath with one goal in mind, to offer great service and great value. Just listen to what our customers are saying.
Service was excellent.
Easy process, start to finish.
We are really happy with our new bathroom.
We've already talked to them about redoing our kitchen.
They have our complete trust.
Call Miramar Kitchen and Bath, 858-271-8434, or visit my showroom, just 1/2 block off Miramar Road on Commerce Avenue.
Contractors license 657-333.
Miramar Kitchen and Bath.
You're listening to the Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Andrea Kaye Show. Glad to have you all here with me. Glad to have my buddy Paul in the booth today, engineering today. Dijon, wherever you are, we hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas. I got to say, Paul, I don't really know half of these songs you're playing, baby. Who are these musical artists?
That last song was Foo Fighters. That was Times Like These, one of my all-time favorite songs, one of my all-time favorite bands. And then I played a little Bush earlier and bounced around.
All right, awesome. Do you like any hair bands?
A little bit. I like a little Van Halen once in a while.
Yeah. Okay, which Van Halen, though? Because they've had 9 singers.
Yeah, you got to go Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, when Eddie Van Halen and then David Lee Roth, and then after that band is kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like who?
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting into a little pop culture. the left has done a really good job with President Obama as the quarterback of the game being played of identity politics. One of the ways that they've seek to divide us. Remember, he ran the Great Divider. Many white Americans voted for him because they really thought he was actually going to heal a lot of the racial divide. I know a lot of friends in the South who were ashamed of the history of the South and really wanted him to be a success, particularly in that area. And since he took office, he's done everything he could to divide. Racial tensions are at an all-time high in my life. And I started a blog post back when the whole story on college campuses came out about safe spaces. And that story broke a while back, and I'm still pondering on how I want to finish it. It's called Safe Spaces in the Legend of Ms. Mays, which is a place my friends and I used to go to in New Orleans. And it's a tough piece for me to write because it's about some black-white relations and things from my perspective, having grown up there and having sat at red lights where the Klan actually would come to my window and try to hand me information wearing hoods. So, I have a perspective, I've seen a lot, okay, in my life. And we needed somebody who could actually help us heal, not do what President Obama's done. And you know what? Part of the healing is holding everybody accountable for their own personal actions and not sending a message to any particular group that they're special, that they've suffered more. Really, there's nobody today who was owned by anybody else. Slavery has not existed in the lifetime of anybody who's alive today. So we got to stop this victimhood crap, because with the result of fostering so much racial hatred between the races is now we have a teacher in Ohio, a black teacher who slapped a disabled white student saying that she doesn't have to serve white people like him. That's the kind of crap that we got going on in this country. And you know what? This didn't make any major media outlet. She was actually turned in by student teachers who reported her because one of the kids that she slapped couldn't even speak. Thank you. This is don't tell me that this isn't a result of the kind of hatred that's being fostered by President Obama and those on the left. So, it's the kind of, I'm hoping we got more debates coming up. I'm hoping we're going to have more on this situation here, because we've never been more divided as a nation. And when we've got 50,000 in 10 states in mosques, working together with jihadists to try to have more San Bernardinos, we need to be joining together, not fostering this kind of stuff. Now I got to move on to something more positive. And that is the scandal that broke against Peyton Manning. Hey, by the way, if you're just tuning in, this is the Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170, The Answer. Now, here's the thing. People don't seem to understand why those of us from New Orleans aren't really big fans of the Manning family. So I got to tell you, when I heard this yesterday, I got off the cruise ship and I heard that Manning was accused of taking human growth hormones, HGH, back after he had the neck surgery. I was like, oh, how the mighty hath fallen. I had a little bit of glee, because I'm thinking where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Then I find out that, the Al Jazeera reporter is kind of standing by his story, or her story. I don't even know the name of the reporter. But then I find out that the whole scandal is based on the fact, supposedly, Paul, that some from an anti-aging clinic in Indianapolis, that his wife had basically ordered some HGH. They have no proof that he took it. And then the reporter comes out today and says, well, he hasn't denied that the stuff was sent to his wife. Well, no, he didn't deny it. She probably ordered it. She probably gets Botox, too. It doesn't mean he does.
Right. And, yeah, it gets a little more complicated because he did when his last season with the Indianapolis Colts, when he sat out the entire season with a neck injury. Yeah. He actually did go to this clinic. It was approved by the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts doctors went with him, and he was going in this hyperbaric chamber for 45 minutes a day or an hour a day or whatever it was. They thought it would help increase the blood flow to his muscles and help him recover faster. He doesn't really believe it worked. He said it was more time than anything that healed him. But he did actually go to this clinic, and then his wife ended up ordering some stuff from there. But it's all hearsay. Plus, the source from the story has since recanted his story, but Al Jazeera is still running with it and running with the documentary.
Well, we'll see. But, he's basically saying, okay, yeah, I took this away. There's really no story here.
No,
I would
really
kind of,
isn't.
I kind of wish there was, because it would have been more interesting. But there's really not. I mean, I think the bigger story for Manning this year is, really, does he really have plantar fasciitis, or is it just an excuse to sit on the sidelines because his arm is gone?
I think his plantar can't play no more-itis.
Yeah, I think you're right. Speaking of the NFL, did you see the hilarity that went down with the Rams punter?
Yes. That poor guy.
Poor guy.
Honestly, I know. I've tried to defend punters and kickers saying they're football players. No more. I can't do that.
You know what? I used to feel sorry for him because it was like these poor guys, especially the field goal kickers.
Yeah, kickers. They have more pressure on them anyway.
Oh my gosh! And it's like you set up these poor guys because you can't get it done the rest of the games, and then you got to trot out some kid and ask him to kick a 70-yarder for the win. You know what I mean? With 2 seconds left.
Then he misses it. He's the GOAT. I'll let Scott Norwood.
Exactly. But then this guy, though, I guess for the people who haven't seen it, Google this thing. It's hysterical. So he kicks a punt right, and he's running down the field, and he comes up behind a defensive man, right, and sucker shoves him, basically. So then the next go round, right, he kicks a punt, and then Bennett comes up, and
he basically turtle shells.
In front of everybody.
Yeah.
In front of the world.
Yeah. At least it's at a Rams fan. So there was a Rams game, so there was like 12 people there.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's on YouTube now. So if you haven't seen it, Google it. If you need a laugh, to me, it's hysterical. And I posted on Facebook, I said, Bennett should have, I wish Bennett had been one of the players. They mic up some of the players throughout the game.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Wouldn't it have been hilarious if he had been mic'd up?
Amazing.
He could have said, hey, boy, go get me a sandwich.
Exactly.
So funny. Gotta have a laugh. Speaking of funny, I tell you what made me laugh. Funny guy David Spade. I just think he is one of the funniest guys on TV. I've been a fan of his for many years. I actually ran into him in a Phoenix airport one time, and bless his heart, he's only like 4'6". I mean, shortest guy ever, but short in stature, huge and funny. Well, I guess he said that Obama, he's like in some hot water up in La La Land. I wish Della B was here to report. He said that, because she would be much funnier than I am about it. He said that Obama should be acting with more dignity. I guess the Bear Grylls reality show came out over the weekend or while I was gone. Do you know about that, Paul?
I don't know.
He's the adventure TV guy. I don't know if you've ever seen
Man vs. Wild.
Man vs. Wild. Well, I guess a while back Obama had been up in Alaska and shot an episode with Bear Grylls. Well, I guess it came out over the weekend, and David Spade says that presidents should be acting with more dignity. He shouldn't be like going all over everywhere on, reality TV. And David Spade's theory is, I guess, that the Obamas are trying to like increase their reality show, whatever personas, in preparation for leaving the White House. And he went on to say that Michelle Obama's on Ellen more than he is, which was funny. And then he says it seems a bit thirsty to me. You know what? It is thirsty. These people are so desperate for attention. It's like, will you people go away and at least pretend like you have some class? When you're getting busted for lack of class by the dude who wore a really bad mullet in a movie called Joe Dirt, okay?
And did a direct Netflix Joe Dirt 2?
Oh, he did?
Yeah. It just came out about a month ago.
Why did it go direct Netflix? Joe Dirt was genius, okay? It was hilarious. If you haven't seen it, rent it. I tell you what, I love Joe Dirt. I would much rather watch that than science fiction. I don't even know. Right now, I guess I don't have time to get into it, which is good. Star Wars, I guess, was the first film ever to make $1 billion. I guess there's controversy surrounding it. Paul, you a big Star Wars fan?
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. It was the fastest to $1 billion, not the first.
No, the fastest to $1 billion. Are you upset? I guess there's so many people out there. This goes under the storyline of everything that's wrong with America, that people are obsessed over the script with Star Wars and don't even know who, don't even know the name of Farouk, who shot 35 people in San Bernardino. Okay.
Yeah.
These are people, Paul, that are parsing every word of the script because they're saying that J.J. Abrams, when the first thing Santika or whatever his name is says, this will begin to make things right, that this is somehow a slam against George Lucas. And there's like this big debate going on over at some place called Quora over, I guess this is like a huge controversy. controversy?
You know, I don't know. I didn't see anything wrong with the movie. I absolutely loved it. I've seen it once. I'm going to see it once or twice more before it leaves theaters. I will be the first person to buy it on Blu-ray. I thought it was outstanding. It was, as a Star Wars fan, it was everything that I hoped it could have been.
Really?
I absolutely loved it. I'm a huge J.J. Abrams fan, and I built this movie up so much in my mind, and it far exceeded my expectations.
Well, see, that's interesting because usually when the movie has a lot of hype, that's usually when you end up disappointed.
Especially with a big movie fan like I am, I tend to overhype movies,
right.
Especially something I've been so excited for so long. Because I've been looking forward to this movie for 3 years.
Wow.
And it totally exceeded my expectations. I loved it.
Well, I'm one of the people that have never seen a Star Wars. The only thing I know of Star Wars is the ride Star Tours at Disneyland, which I absolutely love. Just so people know, J. Abrams wrote this movie with Lawrence Kasdan, who also wrote Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So I don't think there's anything nefarious against George Lucas here. Hey, we got about a half a minute left. Tune in for tomorrow's Andrea Kaye Show. We're going to close out 2015, and we're going to talk about what we can expect in 2016. So you can expect in 2016 more of Andrea Kaye. Thank you all so much for being here. Follow me on Twitter at Andrea Kaye Show. Friend me on Facebook. Like my fan page. Let's keep this conversation rolling. And I'm so glad to be back and spend this time with you all. Thanks so much. Have a great night, everybody.
The Andrea Kaye Show on AM 1170. The Answer is sponsored by Andrea Kaye.